Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NFL matches that are happening on Friday, August 11th, 2023. We will be providing our team, total and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comments section below. New York Giants vs. Detroit Lions. The 2022 campaign was a successful one for New York as they didn't really have high expectations entering the year. The Giants rattled off a 9-7-1 regular season record and won a playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings, 31-24. However, they ran into the NFC-winning Philadelphia Eagles the following week and got blown out 38-7. The vibes are high entering the 2023 season for Daniel Jones and the Giants. But, the quarterback will likely be sidelined for this preseason matchup and will instead see Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito take the helm. Taylor's a veteran in the league at this point as he has suited up for 6 teams and has 12 years under his belt. The signal caller played in 3 games with the Giants last season, going 6-8, 75%, for 58 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Similar to the Giants, the expectations weren't too high for the Lions in 2022. Therefore, a 9-8 record was a welcomed result for Detroit faithful. The Lions will look to take the next step forward in 2023, and perhaps they can make some noise with Aaron Rodgers departing the NFC North. The Lions are currently plus 140 to win the division, which is the betting favorite. Veteran quarterback Jared Goff will be under center for the Lions this season, but he shouldn't see any playing time in this preseason showdown. Instead, we'll see Nate Sudfeld, who re-signed with the club this offseason. Behind Sudfeld will be a battle of 2 rookies in Hendon Hooker and Adrian Martinez. Both players had excellent collegiate careers, and it is worth noting Hooker is coming off of an ACL injury at Tennessee last season. While preseason games can be unpredictable, I am confident in backing the Giants to win by at least 2.5 points. This is because the Giants have a veteran quarterback in Tyrod Taylor, who is likely to play the entire game. Taylor is a smart and experienced player who can make plays with his arm and legs. He is also familiar with the Giants' offense, which will give him a significant advantage over the Lions' defense. In addition, I am concerned about the Lions' coaching staff. Head coach Dan Campbell has a losing record in preseason games, and the Lions have not won a home preseason game since 2020. This suggests that Campbell is not as invested in winning preseason games as he is in developing his players. Overall, I believe the Giants are the better team and have a better chance of winning this game. I would recommend betting on the Giants to win by at least 2.5 points. Speaking of trends, it is worth mentioning that Brian Daboll is 3-0 to the over in his recent preseason matchups. Considering we have Taylor under center, he provides us a competent passing option and should be able to move the ball down the field. On the flip side, I'm looking forward to the later part of the game where we'll see plenty of Adrian Martinez. Martinez played 5 seasons of college ball at Nebraska, 4, and Kansas State, 1. He's a dual threat option who passed for 9,752 yards and ran for another 2,928 yards. Preseason games can occasionally get sloppy late, so if Martinez is able to scramble and move the chains, we should see him put up some points. While he's a rookie at the NFL level, the 23-year-old is far from inexperienced. He should have the basics down and be able to distribute the football to his receivers using these fundamental offensive concepts. Let's sit back and root for points in this one. Give me the over 3.5 points. Atlanta Falcons vs. Miami Dolphins. Desmond Ridder will get the reins for coach Arthur Smith in the first game of the regular season, but he has a lot of work to do, and Atlanta is expected to give him a lot of snaps this preseason. The Falcons come into the season with high hopes as the NFC South appears to be wide open for the 4 teams. The Falcons went 7-10 a season ago but tied with 2 other teams, a game behind the divisional champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Atlanta won their final 2 games of the last regular season, giving them a nice jolt of faith heading into this year. Ridder played in 4 games and threw for 708 yards with 2 touchdowns. Now, with Marcus Mariota gone, and Taylor Heinicke the clear backup, he has every opportunity to run away with the job. The running game was led by Tyler Allgeier, 1,035 yards, a season ago, but the Falcons drafted Bijan Robinson, and he will serve as an electric changeup. The real battle for Atlanta will be at the wide receiver spot. Kadreel Hodge, Frank Darby, Penny Hart, Josh Ollie, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside will all get a ton of snaps in this game. Look for Ridder to play at least the first quarter, and Allgeier and Robinson to split snaps for the first half. The Falcons were 2-1 in the preseason last year. The Dolphins will open the first preseason game at home, and considering how shell-shocked they were with injuries last year, it remains to be seen who they trot out behind center. Tua Tagovailoa missed several games last season with serious concussions. Mike White, Skylar Thompson, and James Blackman are currently the backups for Tua, and White is expected to open the game. We have yet to hear any word on who will open the game, but reports suggest the Dolphins will be cautious with their star quarterback. Miami and Atlanta had a joint practice 3 days ago. Based on some unofficial stats, Tua completed 12 of 19 passes with 1 interception, Mike White was 6 for 11 with a pick, and Skylar Thompson completed only 1 of his 3 attempts with 1 pick. Of course, neither quarterback was able to be hit hard by the opposing team. Those numbers do not mean much considering it was a joint practice. Mike White threw for 1,192 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4 picks last season, and figures to get the bulk of the playing time in the first half. Do not expect to see much offensive talent on the field for Miami, and no Tua. Desmond Ridder is expected to start for the Atlanta Falcons in the first game of the regular season. He has already been named the starter, but he has a lot of work to do in the preseason, especially getting to know his new wide receivers. Kadreel Hodge, Frank Darby, Penny Hart, Josh Ollie, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside will all get a lot of playing time in this game. Ridder is also expected to play at least the first quarter, and running backs Tyler Allgeier and Zamir White will split snaps in the first half. The Falcons were 2-1 in the preseason last year, and I think they will cover the 2.5-point spread against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are expected to rest Tua Tagovailoa and most of their offensive starters, which will give the Falcons a significant advantage. Mike White and Skylar Thompson will get the bulk of the work for Miami, but they did not look good last year or in the joint practice that these teams held. Our team pick is Atlanta Falcons minus 2.5 points. The Dolphins will open the first preseason game in their home stadium, and considering how shell-shocked they were with injuries last year at QB, it remains to be seen who they bring out behind center. Tua will not be there, and Mike White and Skylar Thompson are battling for the backup spot. Mike White was 6 for 11 with a pick, and Skylar Thompson completed only 1 of his 3 attempts with 1 pick in a joint practice these teams held 3 days ago. Considering the workload, White figures to open the game and play the bulk of snaps in the first half. Miami has yet to announce whether Tua will play or not, but judging from the spread and the devastating concussions he has had, it would make 0 sense to bring him out. White had a 58% completion mark last year and struggled in every game with the exception of an appearance against the Bears. Take the under 37. Green Bay Packers vs Cincinnati Bengals. After a mediocre 2022 season, Green Bay had a busy offseason. The most obvious change is at quarterback, where Jordan Love is poised to finally take over for Aaron Rodgers. Along with Love, glimpses at new passing game weapons Jayden Reed, Luke Musgrave, and Tucker Kraft should highlight this contest. Roles up for grabs on this team include the third running back spot, between Tyler Goodson, Lou Nichols, and Patrick Taylor. The man that backs up Jordan Love also isn't set in stone, although 5th-rounder Sean Clifford likely has the edge over Danny Etling and Alex McGough. Zach Tom may get looks at center and right tackle in this game. On the defensive end, the inability to stop the run destroyed Green Bay's season. Kenny Clark highlights a group that has the starters locked in but needs to find quality rotation pieces. Colby Wooden should make the team, but Carl Brooks, Jonathan Ford, and Chris Slayton are guys that will be fighting for a roster spot in an area of need. Everywhere else on the defense has a pretty clear picture of what the final 53-man roster will look like. There may be a sneaky punter competition brewing, but most of Green Bay's questions will come offensively. With 2 straight AFC North titles, the Bengals will try to solidify their claim as the premier team in the division this season. There was one glaring hole with last year's club, and it was running the ball. Joe Mixon is back, so he's the starting running back if he stays healthy. Behind him, it's between rookie Chase Brown and Chris Evans, not Captain America, who spent time with the team last year. Travion Williams is injured, so they'll get the bulk of the carries. Under center, Joe Burrow won't suit up at all, so get ready for heavy doses of Trevor Siemian, Jake Browning, and Reed Sinnett. None of them are guaranteed to make the team, which means each one of their snaps will matter a lot. They're fortunate that the starting offensive line will probably get a few drives, considering the addition of Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle and the subsequent shift of Jonah Williams to right tackle. Does home field mean anything in the preseason? Seriously though, this game should be tight, with both teams probably struggling to score. Green Bay struggled to stop the run last year, but the Bengals could barely run the ball offensively. The Packers have a loaded secondary, facing 3 Cincinnati quarterbacks that don't seem like they'll pick them apart, even with talented receivers. Cincinnati's defense is deep and similarly facing 3 quarterbacks that don't have much NFL success to their name. This game is decided by less than a field goal, as neither team is capable of pulling away. Our team pick is Cincinnati Bengals plus 4.5 points. With several departures in the offseason, the Bengals will be mixing in a significant number of new safeties for this contest as they try to establish their 2023 defense. Look for them to take a long look at several inexperienced young players such as third-round prospect Jordan Battle in this game, which will lead to deep passing and scoring opportunities for Green Bay. The Bengals will need immediate red zone practice for their 2 potential QB starters for Week 1 of the new season, so look for the injury to Burrow to increase drawn-up scoring opportunities for the home team. Most signs point to a higher scoring affair on Friday evening. Take the over 35 points.